Greetings, Grace Covenant. On this final Friday in Lent 2020-21. Now, I'm sure many of you know that we as a church follow the liturgical year and we follow the lectionary. And so what that means is that there are times and seasons set up for us to celebrate, and there is an organized list of scripture that when read Sunday to Sunday, week to week, over the course of 3 years, we encounter all the major narratives in the scripture in the Old and New Testament and essentially read through the Bible every 3 years. And that's layered on the liturgical calendar in which we celebrate seasons like Advent and Christmas and the lesser feast days and, of course, Lent and Easter. What's interesting about that is that our big festivals like Christmas and Easter are preceded by times of introspection and reflection, with Advent preceding Christmas and with Lent preceding Easter. This also mirrors the Jewish tradition of always having fast before a feast. So we have a connection there as well. And then in the big picture of the liturgical year, it's essentially almost divided in half, 50-50. About half of the liturgical year is focused on the life of Christ. And the other half of the year is focused on elements of the Christian life. And we find ourselves right now in that time of focusing on not only the life of Christ, but that pivotal moment in the life of Christ when he, as Scripture says, set his face towards Jerusalem to die. Jesus knew what this next week would hold for him. And yet he deliberately set his face and moved into what he knew was coming. That had to be difficult. And I want to encourage you, each one of you, to walk that walk with us as we move into this next week. There is a classic Christian art song that's several decades old, probably 50 or more years old. It's called "I Walked Today Where Jesus Walked." And you should look it up on YouTube sometime. It's a great song. But it recounts this whole idea of walking the journey with Jesus, particularly through Holy Week and the events that unfold there. And every time we get to this time of the year, I think about that song, "I Walked Today Where Jesus Walked," and felt his presence there. So it's not going to be an easy week. Jesus knew that. And times of introspection are not always easy. Look, there's a lot still going on in the world that we're facing. We're having to process mass shootings once again now that things are opening up. There's still anxiety about who has and hasn't gotten vaccine. We still are struggling with protocols of how to move into a post-vaccinated COVID world. There's still political tension. So much going on. And yet we must set our face to walk strongly into that, to face head on the challenges of caring for one another, for standing up where we need to stand up, particularly, I think, for the rights of those to protect people from gun violence, where we as a congregation continue to need to stand up for BIPOC, and to continue to speak out against white privilege. Those things are going to be with us, but we also know that as we walk into this next week, that there is hope on the other side, and that when we face those challenges, there will eventually be resurrection in some form. There will be, eventually, as Scripture tells us, there will be peace in some form, but we have to be agents for that change, and we have to be ready to walk that walk. So I pray that you will walk with us, walk with Jesus, and experience the pageantry of Palm Sunday, the betrayal on Maundy Thursday, the events of Good Friday, and then come to the party and celebrate with us next week on Easter, when we will all gather in that joyful feast. We will all be welcome to the table. We will all experience the open, empty tomb, and we will be able to join our voices in alleluias and just let them ring. I look forward to seeing you this week along the way. If you need support along the journey, reach out. Your staff is here. We are always willing to be supportive in any way we can. We love you, and stay safe, and we will see you this week. Thank you.